Wrestle Plug 444 Life.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hashtag get plugged in. The refreshing, empowering moment that we have all wanted from WWE.
It's like ordering a medium pizza and then turning up with an extra large and a bottle of Coke.
What happens is these fucking people live in this fantasy land.
Everyone got their shit in, everyone got each other over, everyone looked good, and made the industry look great.
New Japan wrestling talent.
I'm a true champion.
Super Cow! Mamma mia!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug podcast. It's time to discuss WWE Money in the Bank. I am your host, Aeron, and joining me to discuss this extravaganza, we've quite literally just finished watching it, is Kyle Wilkinson.
This was the pay-per-view of the year so far?
And I jizzed in my pants.
Just incredible.
Yeah, he would have enjoyed this too. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know, right? Fucking killer. Right, let's get this undercard out of the way while your phone goes off in the background several times. Keep the sound quality real, you piece of shit. So, undercard. Who gives a fucking shit? Sorry, I just don't fucking care, but I guess we do need to discuss said undercard. I believe Jeff Hardy and Cesaro was on the pre-show.
Yeah, it was definitely what you would expect from these two guys, both pretty solid workers. Jeff's first match back from the injury. He's been gone for like 8 months or a year or something. I don't know. It's been a really long time, but it's good to see him back. Hit a nice swanton for the win. You know, just kind of something you'd expect from a guy in his first match back. But once again, Cesaro pulling the duty of, well, this guy's just coming back. Better put him over. But that's okay because Cesaro always looks good doing it. Yeah, but other than that, it's just kind of, yeah, it was a match on the pre-show that happened. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. The New Day retained their tag team championships in a fatal four-way. What did you think of this? I missed this because I thought the show started later.
It was okay, I guess. I mean, the Lucha House Party was only in there to take the pin, honestly, which they did after a big ending. But I don't know. The match was fine. I kind of wish the Usos were in it because every time the New Day and the Usos have a match, it's always fucking incredible. But you know, it was what it was. It was just a standard tag match with two teams that no one gives a shit about, in the Forgotten Sons and the Lucha House Party. Then the former champs Miz and Morrison, who didn't really do a whole lot in this match. We saw Starship Pain, but that was about it. And then the New Day retaining, so probably in for another long reign with those fellas.
Whoopee! Bobby Lashley beats R-Truth in 1 minute 40. Go fuck yourself. And this is basically when I started to tune in, which is probably why I enjoyed myself so much, because I essentially watched 4 matches, as one of them was simultaneous. Bayley defends her championship successfully against Tamina, and I've got to be honest, probably the best match I've seen Tamina in her entire singles career. Actually was alright once again, despite the fact that nobody seems to care about Bayley's title run, or the fact that Bayley is the women's champion and a pretty subpar heel. She does seem to have great matches, proving that if nothing else, she's a good worker.
Oh, absolutely. I think we can all agree her title reign has been
tedious, I believe is the word you're looking for.
Especially since she turned heel, because we were talking about this when we were watching it. There are some people that are just destined to be career faces or destined to be career heels. And in my opinion, Bayley is forever going to be a face. Her heel tendencies just seem, as you said, disingenuous. It doesn't seem like she's actually into what she's doing, what she's saying. And it shows. But somehow she did well enough to make us kind of care about Tamina maybe winning a match. So testaments to her.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Tamina go 10.5 minutes. Fair enough. We give Tamina a lot of stick. I believe Steve had her as his worst women's wrestler for back-to-back years. But yeah, she pulled a rabbit out of the hat here. And if Tamina can harness this kind of performance regularly, she's going to be much more valuable as an asset on the roster. For the Universal Championship, Braun Strowman defeated Bray Wyatt. Not the Fiend, he got Bray Wyatt. So Sweater Bray lost to Braun Strowman. They tried to tease the idea of him coming back as the black sheep at the end of the match, and other than that, there wasn't really a lot to write home about in this match. Very forgettable, very forgettable, and also kind of, very symbolic of the undercard, actually. The one thing I said about this show coming in was, yeah, I don't care, just get to the fucking Money in the Bank matches. And this was another one of those things where I just thought, you're a stepping stone. You're a very mediocre, bland entree on the way to what is the main course that I am here for.
Yeah, I tweeted this out, but I was more interested in David Arquette's WCW title reign than I am about Braun Strowman in general. I know that's going to piss a lot of people off because people kind of mark that as the first step into WCW's self-destruction. But let's be honest, WCW was already.
But yeah,
already
the first 1,000 step. Like, fucking hell, they were dead and buried by that point anyway.
Yeah, they were already in the shitter without a way of coming back. But I haven't cared about Braun Strowman in a long time. He beat up like a 57-year-old man. I don't care. They should have pulled the trigger on Braun back in 2017 after his rivalry with Roman. And now here he is. I feel like he's just he's going to be a transitional champion. He's just holding it until it's safe enough, for Roman to come back. But it's Braun Strowman, man. I don't fucking care.
No, nobody does. I don't really have much else to add, to be honest. I'm fully in agreement with you. I loved Braun Strowman and his rivalry with Roman Reigns. I loved the period where he was just basically going apeshit mental, and he stuffed Kalisto in the bin, which I thought was hysterical, and he did some great things. But time has run out now. He has proven himself to be a mediocre guy, because what they have done is they've stripped away the things that made him interesting and made him funny, and all the stuff that was around him. They had managed to dress him up with all these wonderful bright lights, and I just don't care. And the only thing that really seems to be intriguing out of this is the fact that we're probably going to get the Fiend going after him next, but that will all depend, of course, on how the Money in the Bank pans out as well, which we're about to talk about. But first, Drew McIntyre, in what we all expected, had the match of the undercard against Seth Rollins. This was definitely the best of the normal matches, so to speak, for the WWE title. Great match, very well delivered, some amazing spots. My only critique of it, and it's not really a critique as such, but it was a bit of a downer because I'd seen all these spots before in those wonderful matches they had on Raw when Drew was a full-on heel and Seth was still a face, and they seemed to be going after each other for quite a while on Raw. And yeah, that was kind of my only critique, was that there wasn't a great deal more than that. It just felt like they took all the stuff they'd done in previous matches and dressed it up. But that being said, I thought this was excellent, and you got to say that Drew McIntyre is really panning out beautifully as WWE Champion. High quality matches, high quality defenses, and we had the weird handshake at the end, which was a little jarring when you consider what Seth has been going through to try and take out Drew McIntyre. And also, I'm not sure if I like it, because I think it makes Drew look a little bit gullible. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make him look like, look at this gentleman, after everything you put him through, he still shook his hand. I'm like, yeah, but that's not how it should be. And you were talking about how he's full of shit and everything before the fight, and you kind of go back a little bit on the storyline for me when you do things like that. But in an isolated moment, it was a nice kind of moment for WWE. But yeah, match was great though. Really enjoyed the match.
Yeah, that handshake at the end was definitely interesting. I'm not sure where they're going to go with that, but I don't know. I guess I'm interested.
The big picture. That's what Seth Rollins teased.
The ending sequence of the match I thought was really good. Just was the Glasgow kiss, I think they call his headbutt.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
And
I have been the
super
recipient
kick.
of many a Glasgow kiss, I can assure you.
Oh, that seems painful.
They are
But, you know,
painful.
hit Seth so hard he rebounds off the ropes into a super kick to Drew, who then rebounds off the ropes into a beautiful Claymore. Oh, the simplicity in the Claymore is one of the reasons I like it so much. It's just us, like, Drew McIntyre is what, like 6'7" or 6'8" or something? He's a tall guy.
Yeah,
And he's just jumping up and booting you in the mouth. That's just simple. It's brilliant. This match, definitely match of the night. Well, undercard, sorry, because we're going to talk about the match of the night in about 30 seconds when I'm done here. God, that's all I want to talk about. But we have to give everyone...
Get on with it.
I mean, there's not much more I can add. It was a good match. Drew is definitely coming into his own as champion, and let's move on to what really matters.
Exactly. Congratulations, Drew. Now fuck off. So, WWE Money in the Bank from WWE headquarters in Connecticut. Starting on the ground floor, working your way to the roof. This is the money. Simultaneous matchups, women's and men's. And the way they started in different areas as well was fantastic. I love the entrances, particularly the men, the way they were just swanning out and being all leery and cocky, like full of testosterone. I just loved it. I knew immediately I was going to love it, especially when Otis comes walking around. He's like, oh yeah, and he's a god at this point. He's just been amazing, and he was very much the MVP of the men's side of things for the whole night. But I loved this format. Once again, the same format which delivered such gold at WrestleMania in the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match. It delivers here again. Phenomenal stuff. Great spots, great comedy. They didn't take it too seriously, which I love. And although I am a big fan of serious wrestling, I also like my comedy. I like little nods to other things. I like the little cameos they had. These are all obviously people that are, you know, involved in the kind of process and the creative process. I know Bruce Pritchard in particular, you know, he made a cameo, obviously, as Brother Love, and we know that Bruce Pritchard is very heavily involved in the creative and the storylines for these matches. I believe he was in charge of creative for the Firefly Funhouse match. So, you know, you can't really go wrong from that factor. But I thought it was great. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was just superbly executed on both sides. I thought the women looked great as well. In particular, it was lovely to see someone like Dana Brooke. You know, let's not forget, a lot of people probably would have forgotten that this is Dana Brooke's, you know, first proper main event. I know she's been in another women's Money in the Bank before, but that wasn't, you know, to close the show or anything. So, yeah, I just loved it. I just loved it. It was fun. It was so much fun. And I think wrestling has really struggled to be fun. But I'll tell you what, this is the second time that me and you have stayed up to watch wrestling in the last 4 days. The last time we watched AEW Dynamite, we saw that amazing comical street fight, and then here we get more carny shenanigans and nonsense. They are really doing a good job of delivering when it matters most, WWE. There's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of bad press, whether it be about Roman versus Vince or coronavirus and the mishandling of things and live TV. But when it comes down to it, this was fucking superb. I love this. Like, I give it a 5-star for entertainment. Obviously, it's not, once again, it's not great for wrestling content, but that's not why you watch this stuff. You know, you watch it for someone else. And the real pièce de résistance for me, and I'll let you take over from here, is the fact that this show lasted 2 hours and 25 minutes. More of that, please. This was quick fire. This was NXT TakeOver-like, and it was quality. Just because of that alone, it was worth the watch. And then you factor in that it was actually a reasonably entertaining show.
Yeah, this is just like the good old days, like where pay-per-views lasted 3 hours max. This one was just so much fun. We start off, all the women are coming out, Asuka's coming out last, and she hasn't come out yet. And all the other women are going, where the fuck is she? They look up, she's hanging off a balcony, doing that silly little shuffle she does. And then gives them a huge crossbody, knocks everyone down, and then gets in the elevator and pretty much just fucks off. Asuka is the MVP of the no crowd era, and anyone who says different is stupid and wrong, and you should probably, I don't know, cut off your tongue and shove it up your ass. I don't know. I don't care.
Think about the two people who have entertained most in the last 3 or 4 months for WWE, and especially since the no crowd era with the, you know, with the pandemic and things. Who are the two people who have entertained most? Asuka
The two.
and Otis.
The two who got rewarded.
Yeah, the two.
Because-
and the way Otis won as well. Fuck's sake. Poor old AJ Styles can't catch a break. By the way, AJ Styles having his Vietnamese flashback moments when he opened the door and there was the Undertaker coughing and that. And I'm amazed they didn't just throw some money at Taker just to come back again. Like drag him back in just as he's about to win fucking Money in the Bank. But AJ Styles, man. Also, I think probably the highlight for most people will be what we all kind of wanted and we all kind of teased it, and that was Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles brawling into Vince McMahon's office. And Vince being like,
oh my God. And the best part, after he tells them to get out, they're slowly walking towards the door. AJ looks back at Vince's desk and there's some chairs askew. And he's like, Daniel, come on, let's go. And they fix the chairs up before they leave.
Brilliant. And then
they just like two kids.
Afterwards.
They look like two kids that just got kicked out of the principal's office after doing something dumb. He's like, this was a waste of time. Get out. It was brilliant.
Hand sanitizer as well from Vince.
On a serious note, I would like to put out an APB, which is that Baron Corbin is now wanted for 2 counts of second-degree murder in the state of Connecticut, for he threw 2 people off of Titan Tower.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black.
Yeah,
and they're dead. They're dead. It's fine.
So what?
I guess
that's it. No more Black Mass, I guess. So he was thrown into the Black Mass. I really like the idea of some concurrent segments on Raw where for a few weeks Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black are just in like a dark pit and they don't know how to get out. And they're just sitting there together like, how do we get down here? What happened? I just remember, the last thing they remember is Baron Corbin hauling them off the side of the building and now they're in some purgatory, waiting to be judged, and the Undertaker's like, I will decide whether you return or not. It'd be fucking great. Just go full carny nonsense with James Mitchell hovering around in the background. It's money. You know what? I give wrestling a lot of stick sometimes and get annoyed when they don't take certain things seriously, but this was just fucking fun in every sense. And you know what? It's getting to a point now where I don't want them to have wrestling matches anymore. I just want them to start filming matches like this every week. I want more and more of this. We got Backlash coming up next. I actually, it's very weird because the pandemic has been such a weird scenario for so many of us, and I actually feel like I've probably benefited so much from the conditions of it. Not just because of, obviously, my personal abilities and being able to get much fitter and diet and things like that, but the amount of work that's gone into the podcast to get it to a much higher level, and the wrestling as well. We've discovered something really special. Matt Hardy opened the door with Final Deletion, and since then, the floodgates have opened in the last couple of months, and WWE are taking all of that and harnessing it beautifully. And I must admit, a little part of me will be sad when we head back to normality, because chances are we're not going to get this nearly in as much or in as much volume as we should. And that's a disappointing thing. But at the same time, I'm hoping that maybe they've seen a level of success from these that will help spur them on in the future, because this was brilliant. And also, like we say, we've kind of undercut it a little bit. Asuka, women's Money in the Bank. Otis, men's Money in the Bank. I can't think of 2 people who deserve it more. That's amazing. Both of these people having the Money in the Bank is fucking awesome. It also means we're going to get a lot more of Becky Lynch versus Asuka, which is always a good thing, because, their rivalry actually is probably the best thing Becky Lynch has ever had going for her.
Yeah, I need Asuka to cash in and win. I don't need Becky's champ anymore. Let Asuka cash in, just carry the Raw Women's division while Becky can just fuck off for a while, and I don't care. As for Otis, who is my Lord and Savior now, brilliant. It's hard not to talk about just the spots in this match, but there was just so many. The men and the women they end up face to face in front of Paul Heyman at catering or whatever it was in Titan Tower. And Otis is freaking the fuck out and then just screams, food fight! And they just start throwing food at each other. Paul Heyman gets a pie in the face, as did John Laurinaitis. He was also there. People power. Oh, and then Rey Mysterio gets murdered. He gets choked out by the Kirifuda clutch. And then Shayna lets him go, and then he gets squished between Nia and Otis. And this was all before, obviously, he got tossed to his doom. This match...
Yeah, tough night for your boy. Tough night for
Yeah.
your boy, Mysterio.
All the matches that have been almost cinematic, like the Firefly Funhouse, the Boneyard match, and this Money in the Bank, they have been. I almost don't have words because I've enjoyed them so much, and I give WWE a lot of shit. I haven't watched them consistently in God knows how long because I think not having a crowd really did take a lot out of it, which is dumb, but everyone's entitled to their own opinion, so fuck off. But matches like this, they remind me why I love wrestling. I know it's not traditional, but it's so much fun. And it also reminds us, even though you and I talked about this, there was a lot of really bad editing during this match specifically. There's a lot of really bad cuts. There was just a lot of really awkward scene transitions and that kind of thing.
You'll never get away from Kevin Dunn. But
it still shows, even though there was a good chunk of them, WWE still have the money and the expertise for the most part to put on matches like this. And it was really, really fun. And like you said, the show itself was 2.5 hours. The pre-show lasted an hour, yeah, sure, but all they did there was show Hardy, Cesaro, and then count down top 10 Money in the Bank moments. That's fine. There's not a lot of wrestling. I don't have to pay attention to that. The show proper was 2.5 hours. And it felt great, especially to sit here, chat with you while we were watching it, just losing our shit during that Money in the Bank match. It was, I would give this show as a whole, like 3.5 stars, maybe 4, solely for that Money in the Bank match. I loved it.
Yeah, I think as a wrap up for me, probably 4 stars for the sheer level of entertainment. And do you know what makes it such a more entertaining one? Is the thing that we've struck on a couple of times. That's the time. 2 hours 25 is perfect for a pay-per-view. This is lovely. They didn't try and be clever. They saturated us with WrestleMania as well. And I think in return and in response to that, we got a much shorter pay-per-view format this time around, and it worked wonders for it. And actually not having as many people on site, having to do things on a different kind of wavelength to what you used to, has actually really benefited the wrestling fan this time around. This was, as soon as they announced that they were going to do these matches, you knew they were going to be fun, because the Boneyard match, once again, and the Firefly Funhouse match, they set a template for everything that we wanted out of them. It was great fun, really good fun. Like you say, watching it with your friends is great, and having a good time and just literally giggling like a schoolgirl at the fact that I'd actually predicted Otis in the last podcast in our preview. You can go back and check. Just the idea of someone like him winning it, and just, yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I like the fact there was no overly, dramatic kind of ending with Michael Cole giving us this 20-minute spiel about what it means. No, it was just like they won the briefcases and then they cut it and they ended it, and that was it. And it was great fun. Great fun. For once, they left it up to us to just enjoy ourselves, and for that reason alone, I loved it. Didn't think much of the undercard. The matches that I really did pay attention to, Tamina versus Bayley and Drew. I actually thought Tamina versus Bayley was, really good. Thought it was really good. Really liked Drew McIntyre. Didn't really think much of the rest of the card. That's fine. Don't really care. Those were all just entrees, stepping stones on the way to the main course. There was Money in the Bank that delivered in every single sense. And of course, once again, they've got me interested in what's going to go down on Raw tomorrow night. There's plenty of built-in storylines now. And yeah, not very much that I could ever really pick at. So I think we'll leave it there. Carl Wilkinson, thank you very much for joining me to discuss Money in the Bank.
Oh, thank you for having me, buddy. I love doing these with you. That's definitely one benefit to this pandemic. I've been able to help out on the show a lot more while Steve is nursing that little baby. I hope everything's good with him and the family. I hope he's watching this or listening to this and enjoyed Money in the Bank, because I'd love to hear what he has to say about some of the goofy shit that happened.
Yeah, no question. If we can grab Steve for a few isolated opinions, we'll try and splice them in at a later date. But if you are listening, ladies and gentlemen, as always, check out social media. If you've got any opinions of your own, you want to send them in to us, it's at WrestlePlug, and we can chat about them on the Next Day of Wrestling address, or we can throw them into one of our cheeky little YouTube reviews. Check out the YouTube, of course. Subscribe if you haven't already. That's WrestlePlug on YouTube. And check out WrestlePlug.com. As I've said before, if you want to contribute your own articles, you are free to do so without judgment, with complete creative control. All we do is simply post them for you, and we still give you the appropriate accreditation for them as well. So, hey, there's a home here if you want it at the Wrestle Plug in so many different formats. But for myself, Aeron and Kyle Wilkinson, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll catch you very soon when Otis cashes in his Money in the Bank conference.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, baby. Once again, thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you very soon for more nonsense for the Wrestle Plug.